Thank you, Speaker. Tonight I want to talk about supporting refugees and people seeking asylum. It's an area of the work that our government has been doing that is important to me, and I know it's important to many people in my community who regularly contact me about this. In the past year since our government was elected, we have been steadily working through some of the issues we inherited in this space. And we know, and I think our communities know, that there isn't an overnight fix to many of these issues. They do know that important work like this takes time. But our government was clear before we were elected that we thought the approach we could take was showing humanity while also making sure that our borders remain strong. And that is indeed the approach we have taken now that we are in government. And I know to many people in my community who, as I said, contact me regularly about these issues, that is a really important approach, and it does mark a different approach to what we have seen previously in this place. Mr Speaker, our government has delivered on our commitment to provide TPV and SHEV holders in our country with a pathway to permanent residency. For many of these people, they've been living in our communities for a long period. For some of them, it's a decade or more. And providing these people who have been found to be owed our protection with a permanent visa pathway will obviously make a tremendous difference to their lives and to the lives of people around them. Again, I know many people have contacted me about people they know in their community, people they've supported over many years who are TPV or SHEV holders. And for those people who have worked here, who've started businesses, who have built lives in local communities, this decision goes some way to taking them out of the limbo they've been in and give them that pathway to a permanent place in Australia. Our government has also taken an approach of supporting refugees and people seeking asylum in communities. And in my community, there are many local groups that do this work, including the Jagga Jagga Grandmothers for Refugees, the Montmorency Asylum Seeker Support Group and the Welcome to Eltham Group. And I want to thank them for all they do to support people living in our community with links to work, with a place to stay and building those connections for asylum seekers and refugees in our area. And I'm pleased that our government has supported 20 social enterprises, including 8 in my state of Victoria, that are providing pathways to employment for refugees. To have these social enterprises providing support to alleviate the financial pressures people feel and provide a source of connection and pride to the area they're working in is an important thing. Our government is also investing in supporting the mental health of refugees and asylum seekers in our community. As part of our government's aims to provide the best settlement services, we are providing $136 million over 4 years for torture and trauma services to help support refugees with their psychological issues, which arise from what have often been traumatic experiences before arriving in Australia. As I said, providing humanity while making sure we remain strong on our borders, providing the right kind of support at the right time, because we do know that everyone is different and that people may need extra support at different times. Our government is also expanding the Community Refugee Integration and Settlement Pilot, which provides a community-based pathway for refugees settling in Australia. And it's just one example of how we are trying to make sure that our communities who do want to support refugees and asylum seekers can do that work. Our government is working globally on this issue. We know that it's not something that we can tackle as an individual nation. So we did support a visit earlier this year from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. And in fact, it's the first time that someone holding this position has visited Australia in 11 years. I think, again, that gives you an example of the change in approach that we've seen. The Commissioner was clear that our government has a lot of work to do, but that he was reassured by the steps that we've taken to date. Mr Speaker, in this place, I was honoured to help launch the Parliamentary Friends of Refugees, and I serve as a co-chair together with other members of this place. It's the first time in our Parliament's history that we've had a group like this established. And I very much thank all the MPs who've joined the group and hope that you'll join with me in trying to change the conversation we have in this country about refugees and asylum seekers, to make sure that it's not an us and them argument that we fall into, to make sure that people seeking asylum are not demonised for political purposes, but to make sure that we are upholding our responsibilities to protect people where those responsibilities exist and to show humanity while making sure that we keep our borders strong.